Turn on, Bears fans. Another edition of the Chicago Bears podcast coming your way. Pat the designer, Shea Norling in the building. And for the love of God, why won't the Bears let us be happy? Yet again, we are confused, lost,
pissed,
and just sick of the incompetence all the way around. This was another situation of your team not living up to the moment. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page. Leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. Bears lose in terrible fashion on a game-winning Hail Mary that shouldn't have happened. But our head coach says that 15 yards ain't important, Shea.
Head coach is foolish. That's really it. I mean, it starts and ends there for me. Your quarterback for 3 quarters of this game played horribly.
Yeah.
Just awful.
Yeah.
And in a fourth quarter, your quarterback stepped up and saved your ass. You scored 3 touchdowns in the final frame. 3 of them, basically. And he led 2 scoring drives in the fourth quarter. And he had one of them stolen from him by Shane Waldron deciding now's the time to get cute, trailing by 5 in a game on the road where you really need a win. Let's hand the ball to a backup center who doesn't take handoffs. Big surprise. Fumble.
Yeah.
Everybody's yelling ball. Commanders flip out. They're pointing. Great. That's not good enough. Defense comes out, forces a stop. You get a punt. Beautiful. Ball again. Caleb again. Fourth quarter. Now, he was terrible for 3 quarters. In the fourth quarter, he was nails. 5 for 8 for 95 yards. It's excellent. And he leads you down the field again, and you score again. And you take the lead. And there's 30 seconds left. And you just do the most disgusting thing that I've seen a team do all season. Pat, it was the most disgusting end to a game that I've seen all year. And there have been horrible closing efforts from teams in this NFL.
Yeah.
There's been quarterback play that's bad. But nah.
On the same day that Malik Willis was able to drive down and put this team put the Packers in a position to win, you top that.
It's not enough to play prevent and gift the Commanders 15 yards to even attempt the Hail Mary in the first place.
Yeah.
Nope, not enough for just that. How about we also put TJ Edwards in a spy for God knows what reason? Jaden Daniels ain't running 60 yards. Oh, we're spying him for the running back. Are you serious?
Yeah.
The running back has one job in Hail Mary. What is it?
just be there as an extra blocker.
Block.
Or go out and catch whatever the short pass is that you never run with 2 seconds on the clock.
The job of the running back in that position is block. Oh, we're going to put a spy on the quarterback for the running back.
Yeah.
What? Oh, how about Tyreek Stevenson in the quarter of the end zone taunting fans 4 seconds into a live snap? Huh? Oh, but then not enough to do all that. Then we get on the podium and word vomit into the microphone last night.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that play where they got 13 yards doesn't really matter. We're playing for the last play of the game. Well, all right. Well, it's a Hail Mary that you know is coming. You got 3 timeouts. This is easy, right? Every head coach in the NFL, timeout. Let's get our guys set. Let's make sure we're ready to go. Nah, we're good. We're going to spy a linebacker, and we got a corner losing his effing mind in the corner of the end zone, yelling at Washington fans. All good, though. We don't need to use the timeout because we're all set. Then you got the balls and the arrogance to go on the radio this morning on ESPN 1000 with Cap and J Hood and be directly asked about the 13 yards and prevent defense that allowed the shot. What does he say? Well, that play doesn't matter. We're playing for the final play. Saying the same thing he said last night. Then he's directly asked about Tyreek Stevenson. Well, he's got to do a better job of focusing. Well, why didn't you use the timeout? Well, we don't need to use the timeout there, guys. We're all set. What? In what world? In what world are you all set? Your corner is losing his mind. The player that he's supposed to be attached to is the player that catches the ball in the back of the end zone. Kevin Byard clearly doesn't know his assignment. Let's scream in from the M in the end zone to jump at the football.
Yeah.
Dude, it's a Hail Mary. Let them jump. If they want to jump and catch the ball and bring it to the ground, you tackle them.
It's a Hail Mary that fell 4 yards short.
And then I got Tyreek
Stevenson.
Stevenson. Hold on a minute, fellas. I'm Superman. And he's sprinting over from the side after jawing at fans. Oh, let me just tip this ball up. You moron.
Be
what
honest.
are we doing?
Be honest. It felt like he was trying to have a Steph Curry moment. It felt like he was trying to have I'm going to talk to you, and then I'm going to run over here, knock the football away, game is over moment.
It's disgusting. And it's a player. Look, Tyreek Stevenson had some nice plays. He broke up the touchdown to Zach Ertz.
Yeah.
Now it's a 50-50 play that gets overturned on video review. But breaks got to go your way sometimes. But aside from the decent, like maybe could have been PI coverage that he had on Terry McLaurin on a deep shot for a touchdown where he broke that up too. Good play. Other than that, you got torched by Terry McLaurin down the field. Deep shot leads to a Commander's field goal. Down 12-0. You got a 15-yard penalty for sticking your finger in somebody's face mask.
Yeah.
Where's your head at?
Yeah.
And then you're jawing at fans 4 seconds into a live snap at the end of the game. And then we got to hear from the coach. Didn't need a timeout. Everybody's out of their minds. Nobody's got a clue. I mean, that's the bottom line. Shane Waldron handing the ball to a backup center on the 1 yard line, down 5, needing a touchdown, and it would have ended the game in all likelihood. Roshan Johnson's on the field. You got Doug Kramer in front of him blocking. This is as simple as football gets. You need 1 yard. You've got 11 guys on your side. They've got 11 guys on their side. Everybody knows what's coming. Block it up. Hand the ball to the running back. Score. It worked the second time, so you should have just done it the first time. Yeah. And then Eberflus, well, we're comfortable with it. We've got 4 or 5 goal line plays that we go to, and that's one of them. We've repped it a bunch. Throw it out of the playbook. Burn the playbook up. Don't ever call that again, ever.
And it's so
ever.
This is the worst part about it. There's a part of me, I said this last night on the radio with Jeff, there's a part of me that's glad it didn't work. Because if it works, and this is not a thing. This is not a thing. Well, if it works, then now everyone calls you a genius. No one's calling you a genius for turning around and handing the football off to Doug Kramer. But Shea, I'm not even getting my blood pressure up about it.
Oh, no, but how about the arrogance, too, to tell Cap and Hood, well, hey, if the ball gets knocked down, well, then we're singing a different song. Well, I guess we'll never know. Will we?
Yeah. We're and by the way, we're singing the sheet music of a different song.
Well, if we win the game, well, then everybody's talking different. Yeah, and if the king didn't have balls, he'd be queen.
I'm gonna be honest with you.
But we live in this world.
And I said this last night. No, I would not. My notes last night, Shea, said Caleb Williams, horrible. Offensive line, exposed for who they are. Defense, great. Tough Bears win. Last play happens. You know what I erased on the paper or on the computer? Click, click, click. Loss.
Yeah.
None of my talking points for today change based on that game. Based on the outcome of it. You can't fool me with that. But again, I'm not getting my blood pressure up because you know what? What Matt Eberflus did this morning is exactly what I expected Matt Eberflus to do. Why? That's who he is as a head coach. That's how he goes about it. What Shane Waldron did in the game, all of a sudden, and I'm not saying Shane Waldron had a horrible game. I thought Shane Waldron schemed some things open
he certainly
multiple times throughout the first 3 quarters. But, it's real hard to hit open receivers when you're laying on your back. And Caleb Williams spent some time doing that in the first 3 quarters because you've got 5 offensive linemen that can't figure it out. My blood pressure is not up at anything that I already knew was a problem. My blood pressure is up because Ryan Poles didn't think it was a problem. I said in week 2 when Caleb Williams was 7 sacks in to his rookie. 9 sacks into his rookie career in 2 games. Ryan Poles failed Caleb Williams. You know what I saw last night? I saw Keenan Allen open. I saw DJ Moore get open. I saw Rome Odunze open. I saw Caleb Williams not have the time to get the football to him consistently. And he was terrible too. In the moments where he did have the time, overthrows.
Yep.
Just in my mind, not making the right decision. The Rome Odunze one, throwing it into double coverage when you got DJ Moore right there, that irritates me so much because realistically speaking, I thought we learned that lesson. The last 3 weeks we've been taking the easy plays, the check down plays, because we know, hey, even though we're a better team here, this offense ain't there yet.
I was fine with that play. I was. I think it's second and short. You run a post pattern deep. You're trying to take a shot. You're between the 40s. I'm fine with that.
Got to give him a chance, though.
I'll live with it. I'm not telling you. Look, I'm not saying it was a great throw.
Yeah.
But you got to execute. I'm just saying the play I'm fine with. The decision I'm fine with. I get it. And third down, Caleb made a nice throw. Completed a third down pass to DJ Moore. One problem, pre-snap penalty. Okay, 3rd and 7. Pre-snap penalty again. Okay, 3rd and 12. Terrible throw to Keenan Allen.
Yeah.
And it's just that those were the moments that I think end up being the difference of the game. And where it really, really just pisses me off is I told you last week, win by 1 or 100. I don't care. Win ugly, win pretty.
Yeah.
Just win. You need this win.
Yeah.
Mathematically, you need this win. And they did it. And look, it wasn't pretty and it was stupid and there were horrible mistakes and they got away with them. And then they just did the most disgusting thing I've ever seen on a football field to give away the win. And look, you can say they failed Caleb Williams on the offensive line. I don't disagree with you. It's not good enough. And part of that is you can't plan for losing Braxton Jones and you can't plan for losing Tevin Jenkins. Well, maybe you can. Certain things like they're going to happen and you have to overcome. And I thought that Caleb in the fourth quarter did that. What bothered me is the offensive line fails him and he's not overcoming. He's playing a bad game. And in the fourth quarter, he's nails. And you overcome everything that went wrong. And then you just punt it all the goodwill, everything that you did, you just punt it.
The DeAndre Swift jump.
And you fail Caleb in an infinitely worse way, where Caleb goes on the road and in the fourth quarter of a game where he's been awful, locks in and leads drives to bring you to victory. Caleb Williams delivers the mail. And you fail him in the ultimate way by doing irredeemable, dumb shit. Spying Edwards. Prevent when you know they're going quick out to get the 15 and give themselves a shot. Not calling timeout in front of a Hail Mary. And as much as he wants to say, well, we don't need to use the timeout, we're all set. Every other coach in this league is getting a timeout in before that play happens. Every single one.
Even Dan Campbell.
Every one of them. Nobody goes into a Hail Mary without using a timeout if they have one. And you had 3. 3. What are you going to put them in your back pocket and take them on the plane back? They don't do you any good. You don't get to trade them in. You don't get reward points at the coffee stand because you have bonus timeouts. It's dumb. There's nothing else to say about it than that it's stupid. And I'm not saying that Matt Eberflus is a stupid man. I'm saying he made a stupid decision. And there is absolutely no way around it. Nobody else would make that decision. Nobody.
And it worked out as poorly as it could for you. Legitimately. As bad as it could go, it worked out as bad as it could go for you. The only play that you could have made to put you in a position for that play to happen, you made. And Tyreek Stevenson is unprepared. And the fact that Caleb Williams sees it. Caleb's he's doing this. He sees Reek in the corner. You don't see it? You don't see your number 2
we don't need a
cornerback?
timeout there, guys. We're all set.
I don't understand it. And here's my thing at the end of this. Like, you have so many mistakes you can point to in this game. You have so many things that you can look at and say, this is how this game gets here, and you still could have won it. And I do agree that Caleb Williams drove you down the field. I'm not one that absolves the first 3 quarters because you put us in a game-winning situation. I feel like that's a very Mitch Trubisky-esque praise, right? That was the praise for Mitch until everybody was done with him. Was, well, in that playoff game, he put you in position for that field goal to win it. And but I shouldn't have got there because this is the 25th ranked defense the 25th ranked pass defense that we're going up against. We should have been able to move the ball a little bit better down the field. This is an offensive line that had just lost their best piece, and you weren't prepared to block 3 dudes and Daron Payne out there. Like,
again, Pat, it's more of an Eberflus issue than a Caleb issue to me. You can't come out of the bye that flat. You just can't. And that falls on coaching. It falls on the OC. And I get where you're going, calling it a Trubisky thing, but let's remember that game was at home. You played that game at home. You go on the road in the NFL. I don't need it to look anything other than end with a W. You could play the ugliest, most horrid game ever on the road against a good team in this league. If it ends with a win, I don't really care. And for Caleb to play as badly as he did and bounce back the way he did, that's impressive to me.
Yeah.
And it convinces me that you've got the guy. For the head coach to light it all on fire and throw it in the trash with the dumbest decision-making I've seen maybe in my life watching football, it tells me all I need to know about the future of this team. It tells me everything I need to know.
And this is who Flus is. This is his 4th game of 90+% win probability that he's lost. His 4th game. And at a certain point, listen, I get it, right? Like we were having the conversation where it's, he did this last season, but if that doesn't happen, we don't end up with Caleb Williams. I'm not sitting here telling you I don't think that Caleb Williams is a better passing quarterback than Justin Fields probably ever will be right now. I think that he throws the football incredibly well. I think he assesses the game incredibly well. Even with him having a bad game, I didn't come out of this game feeling like you don't have the quarterback, but I do feel like you put this young man in the exact same position that we complained about Justin being in. And guess what? We're 2 games in to the season where we are going to get to the end of this year and go, the Bears probably should have 11 wins. We're already 2 games in. The Bears finished with 7 wins last season. How many games should they have won, Shea?
10, probably.
So they should have been a playoff team last year? So the thing that's holding you back from being a playoff team this year possibly is the same thing that was holding you back from being a playoff team last year. At a certain point.
The head coach?
Yeah. At a certain point, I got to look past the head coach. When people show you who they are, believe them. Matt Eberflus showed you who he was. I get bringing him back. You don't want to go through the carousel of suck. But guess what? You're about to hop on again.
Yep.
Because there's no scenario in my mind where the Bears go out there and win 8 games this season or 9 games this season, and you're going, yeah, this is all good. And I think that Flus is a good defensive mind. I think that he calls they gave up 12 points to the best red zone defense in football in the red zone. 4 field goals. This has been a bend but don't break defense all season. I wasn't surprised when the Commanders got in the red zone. I knew that the Commanders would be in the red zone because that's what every team has done. The Panthers have been in the red zone.
Yep.
But they don't give up anything in the red zone, and that's more important. Giving up 3 is way better than giving up 7. That's what this Bears defense does. I got a problem that I'm watching the same football on my TV in 2024 that everybody railed over and was ready to flip tables over in 2023. Nothing is different.
The quarterback is much better. Like, we just have to admit.
I'll agree with that. You feel better I feel better in this game where he was horrible because of the 4th quarter, like you said, that the quarterback is better.
Yeah, but everything else, I mean, look, the Indy game, it was absurdity. It was a joke. The speed option on the goal line, it's a clown show. And Washington giving the ball to Doug Kramer and Eberflus saying, well, hey, we trust that play. We believe in that play. It's a joke. I mean, then
that's worse, isn't it? That makes it worse. I could almost the loss is one of the worst losses I've ever seen. Going after the game and then going, hey, we believe in Doug Kramer on the one.
It really pisses me off, man, because if he just would come out and hit the podium and go a couple weeks, a while ago, you comp him to this guy because they've been around sort of at the same amount of time.
Yeah.
And Dan Campbell's had a lot of success. And the Lions are so good right now. And they lost to Tampa Bay earlier this season.
Yep.
And Dan Campbell took the podium after the game. And he said, my decisions lost the game.
Yep.
Those guys played well enough to win, and coaching lost it. And I feel sick for him. And Eberflus, if he just gets on the podium last night and gets on Cap and Hood this morning and he talks to these guys and just says, yeah, I made mistakes. I made some bad decisions. Coaching cost these guys a win. They played well enough to gut out a win on the road. It wasn't easy, but they did it.
Yeah.
And my coaching robbed them of that. I would have so much more respect for him, and I'd have so much more belief in him as a coach. But when you start doing the thing that he's doing, where, well, why'd you run a fade on 1st and goal from the 1 yard line? And I go, yeah, why? Why would you do that? It doesn't make any sense. Just run the football.
Yeah.
Why are you running a fade? And Eberflus goes, well, we send Caleb with 2 plays. So that's a Caleb check. He likes the matchup. That's why he went with that. Okay, why are you sending him with 2 plays? It's simple. Run the ball.
Yeah.
And to not say, yeah, we probably should take a look at how we're going after this. No, it's not at me. It's Caleb made the wrong call, or Caleb made the call and didn't execute the play. Well, what's up with Tyreek Stevenson? Well, he wasn't focused, and we got to talk about him being focused, and he's got to get on social media, and he's got to own up to it, and he did that, and that's really all we can ask of him.
Oh, my God.
All right.
Oh,
how
my
about,
God. That's the
how
one.
About,
that
how
was
about
the
this?
one.
How
That was
about
the
this?
one.
At some point, Matt, I'm doing a bad job. How about that?
Let me 2 things. Yes. And I want to do this because I know a lot of people, me and Cap, have very differing opinions on a lot of stuff. But where we come together is we want the Bears to win. First off, kudos to Cap this morning for not letting him off the hook. Kudos to Cap this morning for asking the first question and finishing it up with, are you going to have some kind of punishment or something for Tyreek Stevenson for being unprepared? He kind of tries to surf out of the first one, and Cap coming right back with, are you going to have some kind of punishment for Tyreek Stevenson not being focused? And he goes, well, he apologized on social media. I'm sorry, Chicago. Great. You know what I'm sorry Chicago's get you? Out of Chicago. Yep. And I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think Tyreek Stevenson is the one that will be out of Chicago. I think he can play. Is he a little boneheaded sometimes? Sure. 125 yards to Terry McLaurin. Crazy work, right? Getting cooked over the middle. But I've watched those same things happen to Jalen Johnson, and Jalen Johnson doesn't give up touchdowns. Tyreek Stevenson didn't give up touchdowns. That makes a difference. You can have all the yards in the world. If you don't have touchdowns, usually you're going to be in a better chance to win that game.
Gave up 1.
Oh, well, then we won't speak on that.
He gave up.
We won't speak on it.
He gave up the worst possible one. I mean, really, like
that is true. I guess if we're being real, yes, he did give up the touchdown at the end of the game.
I'm not trying to be mean, but I don't want to write the story on Tyreek Stevenson's career. I don't. And I don't think it's my place to do it, but I do. I couldn't help but think about it last night because he's so boneheaded at times.
Yeah.
And he's so talented.
Yeah.
He can be so good. But stick your finger in somebody's face mask. What are you thinking?
Would you agree his best plays usually come after a boneheaded play?
Yeah, because he has to make up for it.
He has to make up for it. His best play, I swear, every time this year, or it's his best play is followed by something where maybe you should leave that one alone.
Yeah, but if the boneheaded play results in a touchdown at any level, then your next play doesn't mean a whole lot to me.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm like, I can't think of an elite corner, of a good corner even, of a guy who had a long career, who has a moment in his career like Tyreek Stevenson has last night. It's one of the worst things I've ever seen. You're yelling at the fans in the middle of a live snap.
Yeah.
It's one of the worst things I've ever seen.
It's one of the most egregious. And I'm
to
going to be honest.
log on to Twitter and go to Chicago and my teammates, I'm sorry. Okay, you ducked your media availability.
Yeah.
And then you
Take
log on social media and you fire off a tweet apologizing to us and to your teammates? No, dude. You can't rewrite what happened.
You got to take that one on the chin. You can't duck the media. You have to like.
And for Flus to go, that's enough. That's all we can ask. Get out of my face, please.
But you know what? That is the thing for me. And I will say this about the Bears. I said this last night on the Chicago Bears post game show on ESPN 1000 Step In. I said this last night as well. Being in that locker room, being around the team, the little bit that we get to, I do believe Caleb Williams is going to be one person that holds him accountable. Jalen Johnson is going to be one person that holds him accountable. I do believe that the team will handle this in a way that it needs to be handled. Yeah. And Tyreek Stevenson won't be having these moments again. But the problem is, and I think this is what I've said, Matt Eberflus is fine with being good enough. That on social media publicly is good enough. The conversation doesn't have to be, I'm going to bench Tyreek Stevenson and he's not going to be a part of the game plan. The conversation needs to be, I'm going to speak with Tyreek. He will never do that again. I guarantee you that. We're going to have a serious conversation about what his future is going to be for next week and moving forward this season. And that's all I can promise you. Because at least I know now you're doing something to hold them accountable. But what history shows me is that's not you. What history shows me, in fact, is that when Chase Claypool disrespects the hits principles, he can go out there and start next week as long as he says sorry and everybody hugs.
Yeah.
What history shows me is that when Nate Davis doesn't give a rat's you-know-what about practice, about preseason, about training camp, he's still the starting right guard of the Chicago Bears. What history shows me is you don't hold your people accountable. And that is a problem. I think the players will. I guarantee you, Jalen Johnson went in there right after.
That's the problem for me. You got player coaches. You got 3 guys who walked into Shane Waldron's office and said, dude, we need you to coach us harder.
Yeah.
You need actual coaches. Yeah. Like, if this continues, if you keep losing and you refuse to say that any of it's on you, you keep just saying everything we're doing is right. Yeah. The Doug Kramer play, well, we trust it. Well, guys, we don't need a timeout on the Hail Mary. Well, guys, the 15-yard play before, it doesn't matter because we're playing for the final play. If you continue to act like everything that you do comes up roses and you're just getting screwed, like you're playing blackjack, hitting on 12, and every time you do it, it pops up a 10 or whatever. Like you're doing the process.
That was good math on the fly.
The process is all right. Yeah. We're just getting screwed and it's not working our way. And the players aren't executing. And you refuse to say that it's on you. You know what's going to be on you? 6 feet of professional dirt. You're going to be done. Done. And honestly, I don't see another out. You can't keep these guys. How do you do this again? I sat in this seat last week and I said Eberflus 2 weeks ago, whatever it was, Eberflus a damn good football coach because of the way that defense filled in against Jacksonville and executed plays. Yeah. And they were ready to go. And then you go and do this?
Your defense, but see, this is the part that's tough for me, right? Because I can see, and it's very hard in this game, the good of it. The number one red zone defense, number one red zone offense in the NFL couldn't figure you out. That means that you're doing something right at some level. But it's the moments of you not being the head coach. There's no way you hear over your headset, and he hears everything. He said that this morning on Cap and J Hood, right? Yeah. He can hear him. He hears Shane Waldron going, I want to do Doug Kramer on the one right there. Time out. Come here. Sit down. I thought we talked about this. Somebody else call a play. You heard him. Go. Doug Kramer on the one.
But it's arrogance. Well, we've repped this play in practice, so we're going to run it here. That's arrogance. It's arrogance to think that your dumb trick play is going to work.
Yeah.
It's arrogance to think that you can give up 15 yards for free because you're playing for the final play and we just got to execute. And it's arrogance to think that you don't need to take a timeout.
Yeah.
And it's arrogance to go on every show and podium and blame everybody except for yourself.
Yeah.
Like you do everything right. You got to wear the bullet. At some point, you've got to wear the bullet. I thought the thing that made me angry this morning that I think's flying under the radar is, like I mentioned, you're asked about the 4th and 1, and you basically throw Caleb under the bus. Well, we gave Caleb 2 plays. He picks the matchup. He goes with the one he likes. 1st and goal in the 4th quarter. I'm sorry. when he throws the fade to Roma Dunze, which I thought was incredibly dumb.
DJ Moore.
Run the clock. DJ Moore. Run the clock.
Yeah.
I'm all over the place. Pat, I've been doing shows all day. God. First and goal, you throw the fade to DJ Moore. I thought that was stupid.
Yeah.
First and goal, run the football. You milk more clock if you don't get it. Do it 4 times. I don't care. Just run the ball with Roschon Johnson. To come out and be like, why'd you decide to throw the ball there? And he's like, well, Caleb checked to it. Why? Yeah. Why are you giving Caleb the opportunity to do that?
Yeah.
Own your mistakes. And that's a rookie quarterback.
Yeah.
Put the Kevlar on and take a bullet for him.
It's a rookie.
You're the head coach. That's your job.
It's a rookie quarterback going back home and trying to prove he's better than the quarterback his hometown team took. That's what this turned into. I fully believe. I think the coaches believe. We're all in on the storyline because there's no way, Shea, you go through this game and go, we don't need to give the football to DeAndre Swift more. They can't stop it. There is zero way that you do that. And it's just, I don't know, man. Like, we talked about how this was a must-win game. You don't win it. I don't know if playoffs is even an option for you now. And I know there's a lot of season left, ladies and gentlemen, but it's real hard for me to believe that you get 4-2 in your own division.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Detroit just put up 50 on a team, and Jared Goff barely threw the football.
Yeah, it's just, I think you lost a lot more than just the game yesterday. I think you lost a shot at the playoffs. I do. And I spent all week last week saying this was must win because you had to have the tiebreaker. If you watched Eagles-Bengals yesterday, the Eagles are right again. They destroyed Cincinnati on the road.
Yeah.
They went to Cincy and they destroyed them. And that, I think, turns Washington into a wild card team. And if you end up in a tie and you lose the tiebreaker with them because of what happened yesterday, I'm with you. I don't think you're just going to suddenly go 4-2 in this division.
And I'll say this, if you do,
great.
This week is nothing. But you know what you got to do over the next 3 weeks? You got to beat the Cardinals. And I don't know if I can say you're just going to dog walk the Cardinals. I think you could destroy their offense.
The Cardinals just went on the road and beat a healthy Dolphins team with Tua and Achane and Waddle and Tyreek Hill.
But here's the thing. I think you can handle their offense. I don't know if the Bears can handle their defense. This ain't a good defense you just lost to. I don't know if you're going to be able to score enough points. Then you got to beat the Patriots. And then this only doesn't matter if you beat Green Bay. Yeah. And you know what the Bears have struggled to do? Not just under Matt Eberflus, but just in general, beat Green Bay. Maybe Caleb's the guy to do it. Maybe Caleb takes more of a charge. He gets these guys ready. He's a rookie quarterback. It can't be all on him, though. And unfortunately, right now, because I know what Matt Eberflus is going to say, oh, it's just another week. We're just preparing for this week. We're just trying to make it through it. Caleb's the only one that's probably going to go, no, I know what this means.
Yeah, because he's the only one that's like truly a leader, I think. And look, the idea that, you're good enough to win these games. I think you're good enough to go 7-4 the rest of the way and win 11 games. But are we just going to pretend like Matt Eberflus isn't going to have more disastrous decisions the rest of the way? You know there are more. There were 3 last year. There's been 1 this year.
Yeah.
On average, we're getting a couple more.
Yeah.
So,
and you're already 2 games into 2 games you needed to not lose.
This was my whole issue going into this game was if you lose it, is your season over? No. But your margin for error becomes nothing.
I'll say this. If you lose it and you are a 9-win team at the end of the year,
you're not making the playoffs.
You're not making the playoffs. You jump back on the carousel of suck. Because Matt Eberflus is not your head coach going into next year. With Ben Johnson out there, Bill Belichick is still available out there. Matt Eberflus is not your head coach heading into 2025.
If he keeps doing this stuff, he can't be. He just can't be.
And maybe we're singing a different tune.
I've rooted for him as much as anybody. I have.
I think he's a good head coach.
But now we're in year 3 and you're still doing the same dumb stuff. And you still refuse to hold yourself accountable for it. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
It's disgusting.
Yeah. I don't know, man. We'll see what ends up happening. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. You got a game versus Arizona next week that you have to win. You thought this was must win? I think you can be afforded 3 losses the rest of the season. And they better all come in the division.
8-3 makes you 12 and whatever. I don't know about that. Wait, do I even have the math right? What are you right now? 4 and 3?
You're 4-3.
You played 7 games. You got 10 games left.
10 games left. I think you can afford 3 losses the rest of the way.
7-3 will do it.
That's it.
Yes.
And honestly, you might need to swap the Niners game for a
and look
for a divisional game, because you 8-3 what is it, 7-3 the rest of the way. You have no chance at making the playoffs if you don't go 4-2 in this division.
I think you can. It just,
who's going to drop?
What do you mean?
Who else is going to? Because I think there's not a shot really for Detroit to go 4-2. I don't know if there's a shot for the Packers to go 4-2. I think this division is that good that everyone will end up. I 3-3.
Agree, but I don't want to get in the mud and trying to do the math on the fly. Here's the bottom line: Washington is going to win at least 9 games, probably 10.
Yeah.
That means to be comfortable going into the playoffs, you have to win 11 games. And to do that, you got to go 7-3. God bless.
We'll see, man.
This is why I called it a must win, guys. Yeah. And I know people got mad. I know people didn't agree. I know people got a little crazy. But argue that anything less than 7-3 and you're getting in. Because if you go 6-4 and Washington has 10 wins at the end of the year, they beat you on the tiebreak.
Yeah. And
don't get so excited. Well, Washington's going to win the East. Philly's the favorite as of this morning. Just so everybody's clear on that.
6-4 would put you at 10-7 season, which is where I had the Bears.
And if you're 10-7 and Washington's 10-7, have fun on the couch.
Yep.
Great. Good stuff, guys. Good stuff. Way to blow. Way to blow probably the most important non-divisional win of the year. Good stuff. I'm ready to meet you, Lord. Thank you.
For Shea Norling, it's your boy Pat the Designer, back at it again. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. This sucks. Bear down. One love. Peace.